The PPCRV wants access to data from COMELEC's central server to compare election results from the transparency server. A poll official believes the supplier of SD cards should not be paid in full following glitches on election day. Administration-backed senatorial bets lead partial and unofficial count of overseas absentee votes. Malacanang appeals to opposition and critics to bow to majority's decision. And funny scenes during the 2019 midterm elections trend online. Good evening. Election watchdog Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting wants to ensure that the tally of votes being transmitted from the transparency server matches that from the main server of the Commission on Elections. April Senadoza is at PCCRV Command Center to tell us why. Live. April?
Good evening, Alex. The Paris Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, is asking the Commission on Elections to grant them access to data at the agency's central server. In an interview earlier today, PPCRV Chair Myla Villanueva said the poll watchdog wants to ensure that the data being transmitted to the COMELEC transparency server is the same from the agency's central server. The PPCRV reiterates its request to COMELEC to provide them with logs of its transparency server to determine the reasons for the technical glitches last Monday. It can be noted that the displaying of partial and unofficial results from the command center was delayed for several hours last Monday night. The COMELEC explained there was a glitch in the application that pushes data from the server to the media outfits and the poll watchdog. Villanueva, meantime, said the PPCRV already received 10% of the printed election returns from the National Capital Region and nearby provinces.
Yung central server data, i-match namin sa transparency server data. We want to make sure that it's the same. Sa amin sa PPCRV, yung pag-ayos, yung proseso ng pag-ayos, transparent naman ng COMELEC and walang inappropriate. Mas importante po sa akin as a tech person is makita yung logs kung bakit, why did it happen in the first place.
Alex, let me show you the partial and unofficial tally of votes for senatorial race as of 5:01 p.m. The number of counted clustered precincts is 84,937 out of 85,679. Once again, re-election of Senator Cynthia Villar remains in the number one spot with over 24.7 million votes. Second is Grace Poe with over 21 million votes. Number 3, Bongo for Pia Cayetano. 5, Bato de la Rosa. 6th is Edgardo Sonny Angara. The 7th spot is on Lito Lapid. 8th spot is on Aimee Marcos. And 9th spot is on Francis Tolentino. Number 10, Bong Revilla. The 11th spot is on Coco Pimentel. And Nancy Binay is on the 12th spot. And that's the magic 12 as of 5:01 p.m. So let's now check the results from the party list race. 101 Axis is still leading with over 2.5 million votes. Second is 1 Bayan Muna. Number 3, 141 Aku Bicol. Number 4, 33 Sibak. Number 5, 54 Ang Provinciano. Number 6, 1221 Pacman. 7 is 80 Marino. 8, 91 Provinciano Ako. 9, 130 Senior Citizens. And the last is number 10 is 3 Magsasaka. For now, Alex, the manual encoding of the election returns is in full swing. Volunteers here at the command center are doing their best to manually encode the election returns into their computers to check or to validate if these results match the results being shown here at the PPCRV command center. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, April Senatoza, reporting live from PPCRV Command Center. Party list groups who top the recent elections automatically secure a seat in the lower chamber of Congress. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Aside from the new batch of representatives from different legislative districts in the country, 61 seats are waiting for party list groups. Commission on Elections or COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said there are 134 party list groups that ran in the recent national and local elections. Party lists who garnered 2% of the total votes automatically secure one House seat. There's also a possibility to have the maximum 3 seats depending on the number of votes a group gets. Based on the partial and unofficial count of the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting or PPCRV, as of this morning, the Anti-Crime and Terrorism Community and Support Incorporated or CIS has more than 2.5 million votes or 9.48% of the total votes. The first 3 nominees of CIS are Eric Yap, Jocelyn Tulfo and Rowena Niña Taduran. Party lists Bayan Muna, Ako Bicol, Sibak ang Probinsyano, Juan Pacman, Marino, and Probinsyano Ako has also garnered more than 2% of the total votes. COMELEC notes there is no minimum number of memberships to become an accredited party list and to run for an election. Director Jimenez stated that being related to one another is not prohibited among a party list nominees.
Wala namang pagbabawal dyan. Ang importante, nominee sila nung party list at sila ay lehitimong nominee.
Jimenez added that the second round of distribution of House seats for party lists will be divided among the party lists who will be ranked according to the number of votes until the allotted slot is filled.
So, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng sitwasyon kung saan may mga party list organizations ka na magkakaroon ng seat kahit na hindi sila umabot ng 1 million vote.
Jimenez emphasized that party lists play a vital role in pushing for advocacy and issues that are not part of the representatives from legislative districts. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
As in the Philippines, the administration's senatorial bets lead the partial unofficial tally of votes in countries where overseas absentee voting was held. Ferdy Petalio will tell us why.
There are almost 2 million registered Filipino voters outside the country, and the election results in the overseas absentee voting or OAV are gradually being completed. It is noticeable that, as in the Philippines, the administration's senatorial bets lead the partial unofficial election results. In Dubai, former Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa is leading with over 12,000 votes, and it's closely followed by Bongo, Amy Marcos, Pia Cayetano, Cynthia Villar, Francis Tolentino, Sonny Angara, Grace Poe, Coco Pimentel, Rafi Alunan, JV Ejercito, and Nancy Binay are also included in the top 12 in Dubai. In Hong Kong, meanwhile, Amy Marcos is in the top spot with over 27,000 votes, followed by Doc Willie Ong, Bato de la Rosa, Bongo, Pia Cayetano, Glenn Chong, Cynthia Villar, Francis Tolentino, Larry Gadon, Sonny Angara, Grace Poe, and JV Ejercito. In Singapore, Bato has the most votes, while Willie Ong comes next. Amy Marcos, Pia Cayetano, Cynthia Villar, Francis Tolentino, Glenn Chong, Larry Gadon, Sonny Angara, Rafi Alunan, and Coco Pimentel also compose the top 12. In Malaysia, Amy Marcos is number 1, followed by Doc Willie Ong, Bato de la Rosa, Bongo, Pia Cayetano, Cynthia Villar, Glenn Chong, Francis Tolentino, Coco Pimentel, Sonny Angara, Larry Gadon, and Grace Poe. In Russia, Amy Marcos is leading, followed by Doc Willie Ong, Bato de la Rosa, Bongo, Pia Cayetano, Cynthia Villar, Glenn Chong, Francis Tolentino, Larry Gadon, Sonny Angara, Rafi Alunan, and Grace Poe. In France and Monaco, Doc Willie Ong leads, followed by General Bato, Bongo, Amy Marcos, Francis Tolentino, Cynthia Villar, Glenn Chong, Pia Cayetano, Larry Gadon, JV Ejercito, Sonny Angara, and Rafi Alunan also in the top 12. Overseas Filipino workers, through their votes, expressed that they wish more projects and laws will be implemented for their welfare. They also hope for the better Philippine economy and a better quality of life in the country so that they wouldn't need to work abroad. For now, the Commission on Elections or COMELEC awaits the election results from other countries that held overseas absentee voting. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
As an activist group calls on the public to join them in a protest against alleged poll fraud, Malacanang says the opposition should just accept their defeat and bow to the decision of the majority. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Malacanang says it expects the reaction of the left-leaning partyless groups as the results of the recently concluded 2019 national and local elections in the country gradually unfold. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the defeat in the elections of these people is a clear indication that people do not believe in their advocacies. Panelo also appeals to the opposition and to the administration's critics and detractors to bow to the decision of the majority and instead work together for the betterment of the Filipino people. However, left-wing organization Bagong Alyansang Makabayan plans to conduct Black Friday protests against the results of the elections. Renato Reyes, the Secretary General of Bagong Alyansang Makabayan, slams the statement of Secretary Panelo yesterday that it is through the Duterte magic that more people supported most of the senatorial aspirants endorsed by President Rodrigo Duterte, and they are included in the top 12 of the Commission on Elections' partial unofficial results in the senatorial race. For Reyes, the election result is not credible. He added that Duterte magic pertains to the use of government resources to favor the administration bets, the use of the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police to target and harass the opposition groups and progressive party lists and their candidates, the control over the poll body, questionable automated polls, martial law in Mindanao, and the alleged government-sponsored disinformation. Reyes supports the statement of Nery Colmenares, a senatorial aspirant and former Bayan Muna representative who does not concede to what he says is a rotten electoral process, saying he will continue his fight. As of 2 p.m. today, Colmenares is in the 24th place in COMELEC's partial unofficial election results for the senatorial race. According to Secretary Panelo, Reyes has no evidence to corroborate his allegations, especially that half of the COMELEC commissioners are appointees of former President Benigno Aquino III. Still, the palace hopes Reyes will accept the defeat. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Now let's have a rundown of the new and returning government officials in Metro Manila. Isko Moreno wins as Manila Mayor as he defeats re-electionist Erap Estrada. Francis Zamora wins as San Juan City Mayor and ends the Estrada clan's 50-year reign. While his father Ronaldo Zamora wins as San Juan City Representative by beating celebrity Edu Manzano. Incumbent Imelda Aguilar and daughter April win as Mayor and Vice Mayor of Las Piñas City, respectively. Rex Gatchalian wins as Valenzuela City Mayor for a third and final term. Menchi Abalos wins as Mandaluyong City Mayor. Former Vice President Jejomar Binay loses his congressional bid in Makati City to Kid Peña. Abby Binay is set to keep her seat as Makati Mayor, defeating brother Junjun Binay. Malabon City Mayor Antolin Lenlen Oreta III retains his seat despite Duterte threats. Vice Mayor Joy Belmonte defeats controversial Bingbong Crisologo for Quezon City mayoralty. Vico Soto defeats re-electionist Bobby Eusebio in Pasig City, ending the Eusebio's decades-long hold on the city. Lino Cayetano is proclaimed new mayor of Taguig City, but not without protest from rival Arnel Serafica. And Jaime Fresnedi is re-elected as Muntinlupa City Mayor. Edwin Olivares is proclaimed Parañaque City Mayor for his third and last term. Filipinos always emerge among other nationalities because of our sense of humor. In fact, funny scenes during the 2019 midterm elections are now trending on social media. Let's watch this report from Mon Hokson.
Who will forget this campaign jingle? Aside from its attention-grabbing music, it is enticing to the ears, though for others, it is quite disturbing. But netizens have made a funny meme out of it. One can be seen on the YouTube channel of TV ni Louie. He even copied the clothing of the candidate, especially the trending dance move. Even the Avengers and their enemy Thanos joined the Buduts dance.
Verse 16 sa balota.
Videos and posts of fingers with indelible ink are also trending on social media. But some of such posts are a bit absurd. This post by a netizen presents that he'd already voted, showing off the indelible ink on not just one finger, but on all of them. But this was beaten by another netizen's post showing his hands full of ink. Others took photos of their fingers without indelible ink, but instead just dirt. Another one posted a photo of his fingernails with plants growing in them. But one of the most attention-grabbing posts is that of Nonoy Arendains. He used an app and transformed the senatorials into their toddler versions. Who among them do you find the cutest? Is it baby General Bato de la Rosa? Baby Attorney Larry Gadon? The innocent baby Nancy Binay? The cute baby economist Ma Rojas? Is it baby Pilo Hilbay? Or baby Erin Tañada? The cute baby Nery Colmenares? Baby Samira Gutok? The baby heartthrob Attorney Glenn Chong? The baby military man Gary Alejano? The baby doctor Willie Ong? The Buduts King baby Bong Revilla? Baby Cynthia Villar? Baby Grace Poe? Baby Bongo? Baby Pia Cayetano? Baby Lito Lapid? Baby Sani Angara? Baby Amy Marcos? Looks like nothing has changed with baby Bam Aquino. The cute baby Coco Pimentel? Baby Jiggy Manicad? Baby Jinggoy Estrada? Baby JV Ejercito? And of course, baby Freddy Aguilar, who looks like a pop rock star. But it looks like that the mobile app did not work for Leo de Guzman, Shell Jokno, Juan Ponce Enrile, Sergio Osmeña, and Rafi Alunan. But the most favorite and the one that beat them all is our friend who imitated a reporter delivering news from a polling place. If you watch closely, he has the many characteristics of a real reporter. During a live report, be on standby. Listen very carefully if it's your turn to report. Check your override monitor and listen to the anchor. When called, happily greet the anchor.
Mapayapang eleksyon, yan nga ang hinahangad ng ating mga botante dito sa Tartarian, no?
And of course, don't forget your microphone. Be wary of your hand gestures. Point to where and what you are saying. That's it. Let's listen to what he's reporting.
No? At kakibat nila ang init at pagod sa pagpila. Pero ngayon kakaunti na lamang. Ngunit hindi
You go, girl! And always be attentive for the news anchor's question. Answer it immediately and don't forget the iconic tapping on your override earphone. Currently, the post has over 8,000 shares and more than 27,000 likes, and the numbers keep on growing. It's a fact that whatever the season, Filipinos are really a happy country. Whether you're a winning or losing candidate, life must move on. And the best advice for you is, chill out. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Commission on Elections plans not to fully pay the suppliers of SD cards which caused technical glitches during the elections. The full body says it is open for a third-party audit to prove there is no election fraud. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Commission on Elections or COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon is not in favor of giving a full payment to the suppliers of defective SD cards used in the elections. COMELEC had acquired SD cards from the joint venture of JV of S1 Technologies and Silicon Valley Computer Group worth 22.6 million pesos. According to Guanzon, it will be a waste of money to pay for the 1,665 defective SD cards. The supplier also needs to explain why the SD cards did not function properly on the day of the polls. The company will also have to pay for a penalty once proven there had been negligence on their part.
Under COA rules, even if they delivered and hindi namin nagamit yan because it would have resulted to chaos. Hindi namin sila kailangang bayaran.
Commissioner Guanzon also stated that there have been delays in the transmission of election results because more than 1,000 SD cards could not be read by the machines. The poll body will also have to issue their final decision after an investigation on the suppliers of the defective SD cards, marking pens and vote counting machines. COMELEC also wants the National Printing Office or NPO to answer their concern whether they had subcontracted another printing press to print the voter information sheets. This after the poll body discovered there were errors on the printed voter information sheets. Guanzon explained they had the NPO print the sheets so as not to hold a bidding process anymore since both COMELEC and the NPO are government-owned. But Guanzon reiterated the NPO should not subcontract another printing press to do the job of printing the 61 million voter information sheets worth 4 pesos each.
Ina-subcontract ba nila sa Holy Family Printing Press ang voter information sheet namin? Because that's against COA rules, yung subcontracting na yan. Kaya nga sila ang pinili namin para wala na kaming bidding dahil time was of the essence. Kung totoo yan, and the directors, some directors answered my question, Holy Family Printing ang nag-deliver sa kanila at mali-mali.
Meanwhile, the poll body is open for a third-party audit of the data logs of the transparency servers in line with the delay of the transmission and sudden drop in the election results last Tuesday. Commissioner Guanzon stated that it is better for an independent body to make an audit to prove there has been no election fraud.
Yes, third-party audit. Pati PPCRV, of course, non-trans. They are going to have access. We will give them access.
Guanzon said she cannot even blame the public if they have doubts and why there were delays in the vote transmission.
I can assure that personally na wala pong daya dyan o magic.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting or PPCRV believes companies with global experience and more technology experts should be present in the next bidding for election technical service providers. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
The Commission on Elections or COMELEC admits the number of problems on vote counting machines jack up in the recently concluded elections compared with that in the past polls in the country. During the 2016 presidential elections, the recorded technical glitches were at 188. But last Monday, more than 900 machines used in the elections failed. Aside from this, problems were encountered with more than 1,900 SD cards on the day of the elections. According to the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting or PPCRV, technical expertise should be put into consideration in selecting the next service provider in the elections to avoid these problems.
I think it's better that more tech experts are part of the bidding process para talagang matanong lahat ng dapat itanong bago mag-award.
Senator Coco Pimentel says the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on the Automated Election System will step in and conduct its probe.
I have already coordinated with the House Panel Chair, Congressman Sherwin Tubna, and we have set the schedule on June 4.
COMELEC will be asked if they had followed appropriate diagnostic tests on the machines.
What happened? And then are the standards, maybe the standards of the test are too low, or the person certifying you passed the test are too arbitrary or untrained or ignorant? Tanungin natin lahat yan.
This has been the fourth time that the Philippines has operated under automated elections. But the question still remains as to why glitches aggravate and why it seems that we never learned. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue.
Now here's a rundown of local election winners in Luzon. Michael Marcos, Kion, and Toto Lazo win as mayor and vice mayor of Lawag City respectively. Benjamin Magalong wins as the new Baguio City mayor. Chavit Singson wins as mayor of Narvacan, Ilocos Sur. Bebong Gatchalian and Len Pineda win as mayor and vice mayor of Malolos City respectively. Mark Brian Lim wins as the new Dagupan City mayor, unseating Mayor Belen Fernandez. Roland Paulino Jr. and Jong Cortez win as mayor and vice mayor of Olongapo City respectively. Re-electionist Puerto Princesa Mayor Lucilo Bayron wins a third term. Gemma Lubigan, widow of slain Vice Mayor Alex Lubigan, wins as mayor in TRECE Martires, Cavite. Juanito Victor John Vic Remulla Jr. wallops Erineo Ayong Maliksi in the gubernatorial bid in Cavite. And finally, outgoing Senator Francis Escudero wins Sorsogon's gubernatorial race. The Philippine National Police investigations some 1,000 cops who allegedly violated election regulations. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
Philippine National Police or PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde does not discount the reports of alleged violation of election regulations committed by about 1,000 of his men. General Albayalde stated today that most of those cops allegedly served as security escorts of several candidates in the recently concluded midterm elections.
These are all allegations kasi, no? We have reports or allegations coming from different supporters and candidates. Kaya natalo, ganito, dahil natalo ito nang dahil doon sa tipo pulis o dahil doon sa pagme-medal ng isang pulis doon sa locality na yun.
It can be noted that all police officers assigned to politicians had been recalled before the campaign period began, except those who served politicians who had passed the PNP's threat assessment and had been permitted by the Commission on Elections to have security escorts. The PNP chief added that all policemen and police officials who were assigned to a different area because they are relatives of a candidate or candidates in the elections will be returned to their respective places. They just await the proclamation of all the election winners, General Albayalde added. The PNP chief also appeals to the losing candidates and to their supporters to accept the results of the elections.
Let's all unite. Tapos na po ang eleksyon. Let us respect the outcome of the election and respect the voters' decision. Tapos na po yan, it's just a mere exercise. Kung natalo tayo, suportahan natin yung kung sino ang nanalo for the good of the country.
Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
As the election period ends, let us find out how does the spending of candidates who run for government posts help in boosting the country's economy. Joan Nano tells us why.
Although piles and piles of trash such as campaign posters and banners has been left and scattered everywhere after the elections, funds spent by candidates in the recent elections has an impact on boosting the Philippine economy. According to Dr. Alvin Ang, a professor in the Economics Department of Ateneo de Manila University, the conduct of elections has a contribution in improving the country's economy through election spending. As candidates spend on the printing of their campaign materials and hire more people to serve during the campaign, and with poll watchers serving during the elections, more jobs are generated. And once these people earn, they also spend and the money goes to different sectors.
Katulad ng gumagawa ng mga t-shirt, ng mga banner, ng mga poster. Kung tutusin, nagkakaroon siya ng paggalaw sa buong ekonomiya natin. Depende kung saan dami ng kandidato. No? Kung sa mas maraming kandidato, mas malaki ang galaw ng ekonomiya. At saka ngayong election to, ang daming posisyon na pinaglabanan. So, yun, nakakatulong din yung sa paglago ng ekonomiya.
However, Ang said that only around 1% is added to the growth of the country's gross domestic product or GDP out of election spending, and this is just a temporary impact since election happened very seldom. As the election period ends, all candidates who run in the elections have the obligation to submit their Statement of Contributions and Expenditures or SOSE to the Commission on Elections or COMELEC. SOSE is a detailed report on the contributions received and funds spent by a candidate during their campaign, whether they won or lost. Under the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines, a national candidate with a political party has to spend 3 pesos per registered voter, while an individual candidate must spend up to 5 pesos per voter. Therefore, with more than 65 million registered voters, including the overseas voters, according to COMELEC, a political candidate has to spend more than 196 million pesos for his campaign and around 327 million pesos for an independent candidate. Apart from the cost of the printing of campaign materials, candidates also spend millions of pesos for their political advertisements on television and radio. But this still depends as to how frequent and what time the stations will air their ads. Several candidates have been charged for election overspending in the past elections. One of them is former Laguna Governor Emilio Ramon E.R. Ejercito. Under the investigation of the COMELEC and Bank, Ejercito spent a total of 23.56 million pesos for his campaign, although the allowable budget is only 4.7 million pesos. COMELEC strictly imposes the deadline of the submission of SOSE. All candidates must submit the report 30 days after the election date. The poll body warns candidates who will fail to submit their SOSE, especially the elected officials.
Paalala ko lang na kapag hindi kayo nag-submit ng SOSE, masasayang lahat ng effort nyo, lalo na kung nanalo kayo, kasi hindi kayo makakaupo sa pwestong napanalunan ninyo, no?
Under the law, candidates proved to have committed election overspending will be penalized with 1 to 6 years imprisonment. They will also lose their right to vote, and those who got elected will lose their post. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Coast Guard and the U.S. Coast Guard conducted a capability training exercise in the West Philippine Sea on May 14, Tuesday. The U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Bert Holf and the Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Batangas and BRP Kalangaman held the joint search and rescue exercises near Bajo de Masinloc with a mock rescue scenario. The training was conducted in a bid to strengthen one of the most enduring partnerships in the Indo-Pacific region between the United States and the Republic of the Philippines, and to support both countries' commitment to a free and open Pacific governed by international maritime law that promotes peace, security, and prosperity of all nations. It was the first Philippine-U.S. engagement of its kind in the disputed waters. Not far away, 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels appeared to monitor the exercises. Amnesty International Israel said a possible spyware attack on mobile app WhatsApp endangers millions of users around the world, including human rights defenders. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
WhatsApp said on Tuesday that a security breach on its messaging app had signs of coming from a government using surveillance technology developed by a private company, and it may have targeted human rights groups. WhatsApp, a unit of Facebook, said it had notified the U.S. Department of Justice to help with an investigation, and it encouraged all WhatsApp users to update to the latest version of the app where the breach had been fixed. WhatsApp, one of the world's most popular messaging tools, is used by 1.5 billion people monthly. It has touted its high level of security and privacy, with messages on its platform being encrypted end-to-end so that WhatsApp and third parties cannot read or listen to them. Amnesty International Israel said if the reports of the attack were true, it exemplified its claim to an Israeli court that the Israeli Ministry of Defense should revoke the export license of the NSO group.
So these softwares that NSO is marketing as tools to prevent terror and crime are used against human rights defenders and lawyers and doctors and members of parliament. We are not criminals and we are not terrorists. And when the Ministry of Defense in Israel allows this to happen, it endangers millions of people around the world.
The company said it was still investigating the breach but believed only a select number of users were targeted through the vulnerability by an advanced cyber actor. It did not disclose how many users were affected. A technical advisory published on Facebook's security website said the vulnerability affected both Android and iPhones. A WhatsApp spokesman said the attack was sophisticated and had all the hallmarks of a private company working with governments on surveillance. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
The FIFA Women's World Cup France 2019 trophy kicks off its tour in 9 host cities in France. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
The Women's World Cup trophy kicked off its 9-city tour of host country France on Tuesday after conducting a whistle-stop tour of the 24 countries which will participate in the tournament, which include Canada, Jamaica, and France, among others. The most coveted prize in women's soccer was on display in a primary school in the 20th Administrative District of Paris. The trophy will visit locations including city councils, schools, and stadiums on its national tour, which covers all the host cities, heading to Le Havre on May 15 and will end up in Lyon on May 24. Director of the Women's World Cup Organization Committee Erwan Lepervu said there was a huge amount of interest from foreign fans who comprised 40% of attendees and that the event would provide a huge boost to France's economy. Matches including the Netherlands-Cameroon match and the opening game between France and South Korea have already sold out. The tournament is due to kick off on June 7 in Paris and will conclude 1 month later in Lyon. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
The footy community is singing the praises of a local Victorian footballer after his quick thinking rescued a toddler from a dangerous situation on the field of a weekend game. Video of the incident shows St. Bernard's player Alex McLeod choosing to protect 2-year-old Pipa Biggs rather than chase after a loose ball as a number of players dart towards him and the free Sharon. His actions to pick up the child instead of the football and carry her to safety close to the sideline allowed Pipa to stroll from the field happy. The incident happened during St. Bernard's loss to Old Melburnians on Saturday, and the dramatic footage is beginning to roll across Australia.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has already received more than 97% of the election returns in the country. Meanwhile, some partyless groups, councils expressed their request for data access to check data logs in COMELEC's server during the canvassing. But Chairman Sheriff Abbas and Commissioner Rowena Guanzon reprimanded the said councils. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Based on the election returns uploaded on the website of the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, 83,904 election returns have already been received at COMELEC's command center. This is equivalent to 97.82% of the more than 85,000 election returns nationwide. At 9 p.m. yesterday, based on the update of the official results from COMELEC, 34 certificates of canvass had been tallied by the National Board of Canvassers in PICC. It has reflected in the results from the National Board of Canvassers, or NBOC, that 11 of the 12 senatorial slates are the administration's bets. Villar leads the senatorial race with the most number of votes, followed by Poe, Bongo, Cayetano, De La Rosa, Angara, Marcos, Tolentino, Lapid, Pimentel, and Binay. Senator Bam Aquino got the 12th spot, being the only senatorial candidate from the opposition, based on the top 12 partial official results from the NBOC, which has yet to announce the updated tallies of the certificates of canvass received today. Meanwhile, COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon reprimanded an election council after requesting for an access to check the data logs on the transparency server due to the bogging down of the transmission last Monday night.
Your Honor, this is a canvassing and you should state your objection to this stage of the canvassing. State your objection to this stage of the canvassing and cite the rule. Otherwise, you will have to be seated.
COMELEC Chairman Sheriff Abbas also told another election council to not present such sentiments during the canvassing because it is another matter and should be filed through a formal manifestation.
We given you a respect, so you should also respect us. Otherwise, we will cite you in contempt. Papalabasin namin kayo dito. Kung kailangan ikukulong namin kayo, gagawin namin. So, respetuhin nyo kami para respetuhin din namin kayo.
The Election Council, on the other hand, emphasized they want to get access not only to the transparency server, but to COMELEC's central server to audit and why it had bugged down for hours starting Monday night.
Precisely, we are asking for information as to the data log to determine and to say na wala nga irregularity. That mayroong 7-hour log, yung binabanggit ni Atty. Romel kanina, gives more suspicion than answers.
Para pong sinasantabi po ng COMELEC, sinasabi po na Java error, ano? Yung po aming takot kasi may kausap po tayong mga eksperto sa eleksyon at sabi po nila sa atin na dapat talaga ay suriin ng mabuti hindi lamang yung transparency servers dahil yun din naman po ay tumatanggap lang ng data na nanggaling doon sa mga VCMs, no?
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, the three eldest Duterte siblings are landslide victors in Davao City as the 2019 midterm elections in the country ends. Janice Ingentet will tell us why.
Presidential daughter Sara Duterte Carpio retains the Davao City mayoral seat after being proclaimed winner last night in the recently concluded elections. At past 8 p.m. yesterday, the counting of votes in the city was completed, with Mayor Sara garnering 580,058 votes against the more than 4,000 votes for her lone opponent, June Marcellones. Sara's younger brother, Sebastian Baste Duterte, who ran unopposed as vice mayor, got more than 500,000 votes. While Paulo Pulong Duterte, the eldest of the three, got the highest vote for the congressional seat and bested his two rivals with almost 200,000 votes, therefore winning as the first district representative. The siblings thanked the Davaoeño for the trust and support to their family. Their victory was proclaimed by the Davao City Board of Canvassers last night, but only the Duterte siblings' representatives attended the proclamation. Janice Ingentet, UNTV, News and Rescue, Davao City.
Now let's have a quick rundown of the local government officials who won in Visayas and Mindanao. Jonas Cortez and Glenn Bercede win as mayor and vice mayor of Mandaue City, Cebu, respectively. Siblings Carlo and Mayel Martinez win as mayor and vice mayor of Bogo City, Cebu, respectively. Iloilo City Representative Jerry Treñas wins as a new city mayor, beating incumbent Jose Espinosa III. Ahong Chan and Celsi Sitoy win as mayor and vice mayor of LAPU-LAPU City, Cebu, respectively, while Paz Radaza wins as representative. Moises Padilla Town Vice Mayor Elia Garcia Yulo beats re-electionist Mayor Magdaleno Peña in the mayoralty race. Gwendolyn Garcia returns as Cebu Governor, while Cebu City Vice Mayor Edgar Labella unseats veteran politician Tomas Osmeña. Lacambini Reluya, who survived an ambush that killed her husband, wins re-election bid in San Fernando, Cebu. Outgoing Senator Lauren Legarda is the new representative of the Lone District of Antique. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte's three children triumph as Sara Duterte keeps her seat as Davao City Mayor, Baste Duterte wins as Davao City Vice Mayor, and Paulo Duterte claims victory in the race for the 1st District of Davao City. Kaka Bagao wins as Dinagat Island's governor, defeating a scion of the powerful Ecleo clan. And Jose Maria Joe Zubiri Jr. is set for a third term as Bukidnon governor. And for the news abroad, a California jury on Monday awarded more than $2 billion to a couple who claimed that Bayer AG's glyphosate-based Roundup weed killer caused their cancer. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
German pharmaceutical giant Bayer has lost another lawsuit related to the weed killer Roundup produced by recently acquired Monsanto. Bayer will have to pay $2 billion in fines and millions in punitive damages to the plaintiffs, an elderly couple from California. Bayer disputes that Roundup was the cause of the couple's cancer and that both had a long history of illness. The company plans to appeal the verdict. The jury in San Francisco Superior Court in Oakland on Monday said the company was liable for plaintiffs Alva and Albertus Piliods contracting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The jury found Roundup had been defectively designed, that the company failed to warn of the herbicide's cancer risk, and that the company acted negligently.
They weren't giving us any choice because from their ads, we felt that it was incredibly safe to use.
It's the third consecutive verdict against Bayer since its $63 billion acquisition of Monsanto. The German chemicals giant faces more than 13,400 U.S. lawsuits over the herbicide's alleged cancer risk. The prior two jury verdicts against Bayer in U.S. Roundup trials triggered steep declines in Bayer shares.
This is not the end of this litigation. This is the beginning. There are tens of thousands of people out there, probably 20, 30, 40,000 people. And I've continuously told Bayer and Monsanto we're coming after them. We are not slowing down. This is the beginning, not the end.
Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he would like to fully restore relations with the United States. Ferdy Petalio explains why.
President Vladimir Putin told U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Tuesday that he sensed that U.S. President Donald Trump genuinely wanted to repair battered relations between Russia and the United States. Visiting Russia for the first time as Secretary of State, Pompeo had earlier clashed with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on issues from Ukraine to Venezuela. Putin on Tuesday told U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo he came to that conclusion after a phone call with Trump a few days ago. The Russian president, speaking ahead of a meeting with Pompeo, also said that his country had not interfered in the U.S. elections. Earlier, Pompeo met Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in the Russian Black Sea resort of Sochi in hopes of finding common grounds in strategic issues over Iran, Syria, Ukraine, and Venezuela. At a joint news conference following the meeting, Pompeo urged Russia to end support for President Nicolas Maduro, but his call was flatly rejected by Moscow.
The time has come for Nicolas Maduro to go. He's brought nothing but misery to the Venezuelan people, and we hope that the Russians' support for Maduro will end.
For his part, Lavrov said Maduro's future should be decided by the Venezuelan people and called U.S. pressure on him undemocratic. Pompeo also said he made it clear to Lavrov that there could be no repeat of election interference of that kind. Washington accuses Moscow of undertaking the 2016 United States presidential election.
But I made clear to Foreign Minister Lavrov, as we've made clear for the past months, that interference in American elections is unacceptable. If the Russians were to engage in that in 2020, it would put our relationship in an even worse place than it has been, and encourage them not to do that, that we would not tolerate that.
Ties between the two countries have been damaged by allegations that Russia tried to influence the results of the election in favor of Trump, a claim denied by Moscow. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
The World Health Organization issues its first advice on preventing dementia, and that is to eat well, exercise, and stop smoking. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
The World Health Organization, or WHO, published its first-ever guidelines on the prevention and management of dementia, putting physical activity at the top of its list of recommendations for preventing cognitive decline. Dementia affects around 50 million people globally, with nearly 10 million new cases annually, a figure that is set to triple by 2050, while the cost of caring for dementia patients is expected to hit $2 trillion by 2030.
Dementia not only is devastating for the person with the illness, but also for families and caregivers of people with dementia, and they also cause substantial costs to society in terms of economic costs.
Stopping smoking, a healthy diet, and avoiding harmful use of alcohol were also among the recommendations of the WHO's report entitled Risk Reduction of Cognitive Decline and Dementia. Treatment for hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes also lowers the risks, the report said.
We know that in some parts of the world, for example, the rates of diabetes are increasing and the rates of overweight and obesity are increasing. So these could potentially be also contributing to this.
The study had not looked at smoking marijuana and did not include environmental factors, although there was some evidence of a link with pollution, and there was too little evidence of a link with poor sleep to include it in the recommendations. The report said that although age is the strongest known risk factor for cognitive decline, dementia is not a natural or inevitable consequence of aging. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
A young boy fights a rare disease. He is given a special gift by his favorite car racer right to his own home in the United Kingdom. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
A Formula One car was flown to the home of a boy with a rare form of terminal cancer on Monday in Surrey, England. Five-year-old Harry Shaw has Ewing sarcoma, a rare bone cancer, and was given 1 week to live on April 29th. Despite his 9-month battle against the disease, Harry is described by his father, James Shaw, as being a lover of cars and a huge fan of Lewis Hamilton.
Harry loves cars. More than anything, he loves cars. And the only celebrity and sportsman he knows is Lewis Hamilton. I got in touch with the Mercedes team and it all spiraled from there, really.
Before Hamilton's Spanish Grand Prix race, Harry sent a video message on Instagram surrounded by stuffed toys and signed photographs sent to him as gifts.
Good luck winning the races in Spain, and thank you for all the gifts. Lots of love from Harry and goodbye.
The message was reposted by Hamilton on his page, alongside the message saying that Harry was his inspiration in the race. Hamilton went on to win the race on Sunday and dedicated the victory to Harry. Hamilton's win made Harry proud of his favorite racer.
Hello, Lewis Hamilton. Well done for winning. I congratulate you. So well done for winning. I'm very proud of you. Goodbye. Love you. Goodbye and goodbye.
To raise money for research for Harry's medical condition, the Shaw family have set up a charity page and have so far raised more than £109,000 or over $140,600. Mercedes also supports the fundraiser. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this May 15, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Yung central server data, i-match namin sa transparency server data. We want to make sure that it's the same.
Now, under COA rules, even if they delivered and hindi namin nagamit yan, because it would have resulted to chaos, hindi namin sila kailangang bayaran.
us better, that more tech experts are part of the bidding process para talagang matanong lahat ng dapat itanong bago mag-award.
Kung tayo iniimbestigan, if I'm not mistaken, mahigit 1,000 din yata yan na under investigation. These are all allegations kasi, no? We have reports or allegations coming from different supporters and candidates. Kaya natalo, ganito, dahil natalo ito nang dahil doon sa tipo pulis o dahil doon sa pagme-medal ng isang pulis doon sa locality na yun.
We given you a respect, so you should also respect us. Otherwise, we will cite you in contempt. Papalabasin namin kayo dito. Kung kailangan ikukulong namin kayo, gagawin namin.